What is up, YouTubers, resellers, entrepreneurs? I'm Sunny Las Vegas, and I invited Ben here for some time now. If you'd like to join me, and I'm glad he did. I've also reached out to some other people that I would like to just have them on. I like their vibes, and that's the whole reason why I either follow your channel or I don't, or I just haven't enough time to catch up to yours. But I do my best to do that. Thirsty Thursdays, I started a few weeks ago and seems to be a thing that's growing on myself as well. Like I look forward to it. And I'm looking at implementing Mic Up Mondays, which is kind of the same thing, but not so much with just resellers, is more of like just entrepreneurs in general. I do have a friend that's coming on Monday who I actually worked with in the security field. And this is an awesome guy. He's a very talented music artist. And I just want to talk to him. He lives here in Vegas and it's hard to keep up with people at times. So he'll be here Monday, and I hope y'all can check that out. Ben, you want to introduce yourself? Got anything going on?
Yeah, I'm Ben. I go by Thriftnflip on YouTube, Instagram. If you want to follow me, you can. If not, that's cool. I've been reselling for a couple years now, trying to be full time the past year, I would say. Uh, just in here, great community. Most people are supportive and take advice from everybody, even if people don't agree with everybody. Take a little bit of it all and make it your
Run.
own.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing since like being a part-time reseller and now doing this for 6 months. I've been trying to like really look at what I'm doing each month. Is it working and what's working? What kind of things are selling, and trying to keep track of like how fast they're selling. Whether it be like a $10 flip that sold within 24 hours, like that's money to me. If I
Yeah.
could get it for like $1 or less, I'm trying to. What's up, Justin? Sorry about that. I see your comments in here now. What's
Yeah,
up,
how you
Justin?
doing, Justin?
Justin's channel a few weeks ago as well. They're talking about double chins, and I was like, I have double chin. He was like, Sunny two chins, and I like the way it sounded. It just sounded gangster, like a mafia name.
I
So
seen you
that's
post
been in my
about
head. Yeah, Sunny two chins. Like, I think that's awesome. Some people might be offended by that, but yeah, I've been trying to really look at myself and reflect on like what works and what isn't, and giving it time. And as a reseller, when you're selling stuff, you could a month I think is pretty good. Like to see if your sales, if you have like, for me, I've been having less sales since January, and the amount of sales, but that doesn't mean I have less amount financially that I'm not reaching. Like I'm meeting that goal. I'm just having less items. I think because I'm really looking at better items. Like
yeah,
electronics, I've been doing really good and testing them. And fortunately, I haven't needed to return anything. And here, Goodwill, Vegas, all the Goodwills, you have a 7-day grace period. Just take back your receipt and you could just get it credited towards whatever you're gonna give them anyways. Do you have that at Goodwill or where you go to? Like
I think ours is like 72 hours, and that includes
oh
like the day if you go in, that's part of that 24 hours. So if you go
oh
in
my god,
late, it's really like 2 days. So you got to check
and
it
that
right away.
that'll suck on a holiday
Yeah,
when they're
right,
closed on certain
right,
days. Yeah.
right. You got to look at all that.
Weightlifting Geek is here. I've been getting into a lot more of exercising past few weeks as well. I've been keeping up with his channel, him and his son, and then also the people that just come across in the gym that he works out in. It's pretty cool. And I could
Yeah,
tell, like, I don't know if you follow him, but he has a. It seems like he documents everything that he does, and I had some friends that would do that, like every little thing, like bench, the time that they did it, how much reps, how much weight. Some people are really thorough, and I can't be that person. I'm more of like the lazy. Like I did started off last time. This time I'm gonna probably add more weight. I should probably do that though.
yeah, that's my
Follow
problem.
my
Like
gains.
I'm too impatient, but then I know you got to do it consistently. So it's just like anything else.
Yeah, just like anything else. Well, on Thirsty Thursdays, people, I usually have something that I drink. I may or may not always have like a alcohol beverage, but today I did. I ended up picking up some 805s, a 6 pack. Mikey Moneybags, his birthday was just the other day, and he ended up meeting me at the Goodwill Bins. There's two here in Vegas. There's a small one near where I'm at, North Vegas, and the bigger one is going to be more of like enterprise, complete opposite side of me. And Kristen, the rural squirrel, came down, and she challenged me to to a Ben's thrift haul, I guess, and I guess y'all see next week Wednesday who did get. She'll have her video like most people do, and I'll have mine. But Mikey Moneybags ended up recording some of it and put out a video. So if you haven't checked out either one of them, I would say check them out. Really good people.
Yeah, I seen part of that premiere. I got in late though. I think it was when y'all was done already, so I had to go back and watch what you guys got actually.
Yeah, I got lucky and found some stuff, but her one of her friends, she came down for a wedding. I think his name is Chris, and I think I see him often inside her channel. He ended up finding some Balenciagas and some Valentino shoes, and I'm like, man, I should have went in when he went in. And it's just one of those things, like even though it's women's or whatever it is, something catches your eye. And this thing kind of had like studs around the opening of where the foot goes in inside the heels. That alone would have got my attention. And if I was
Yeah,
to see it,
right.
I would have snagged up those Valentinos. That would have probably been like 200-300 bucks right there. What's up, Maria? How you doing? How's everybody doing? Regina, I was actually trying to watch your video a moment ago, but then um, I had to tell my wifey later's walk her out. I always carry her bags and stuff to the car. Give her, the typical kiss. I love you. Drive safe. And then she gives me the side eye, like, mm-hmm. Yeah, you document everything. Yeah. I used to be that way when I was younger. Now, not so much. Now I'm like, I, don't- I say this a lot. I don't want to overwhelm myself because I know the way I am. I can do really good at it and be really precise, but then I get lost in just putting information in and not something that like makes me happy. It doesn't work for me. Well, it does, but only for so long.
All right.
I was hearing you talk on the live you just had recently, Ben, and then it was like you're so nonchalant. Like I want to see you excited. Like I just want to see you like, "Whoa," like just go off on something, but it's just like that's the way some people are. And I think it was with yeah, it was with Regina and Derek on their live, and I was just like I was listening to it, I was working, I was back and forth inside the chat. I really do like theirs on Hum Day. That's one thing I've been looking forward to. One of a show I've been following now more like religiously. Derek's and Regina's channel. It's really good people out there that just want to showcase other people and say, hey, this is who I know. Like you might be interested in it, and you might not.
Yeah. Well, had a good time. You've been on there, so you know how it is.
Yeah, I still get nervous though. Like people ask me, like, do you want to be on live? And I think my next live is actually on a different channel. It's gonna be, I think, the 29th, either this month or next month. And it's gonna be back on the Cat, the Nurse Flippers channel. She invited me to jump back on, and that's gonna be pretty fun, even more, I think, because I don't know if you follow LL Stash, Larry Stash. So older gentleman, he looks like the Colonel Sanders, yeah,
Yeah,
KFC
I
dude,
know who it is.
and he cracks me up. And I've been following him probably just as long as Tommy, Philly Flipper, Tracy, like a lot of these names I started like 2 years ago, maybe even longer, just keeping or following each other at the same time. Well, I was following them, and it's crazy how big these channels have gotten while I was away. And I kick myself in the butt every now and then. Like if I had just stayed at it, like I'll be probably bigger, but it's just like, oh well, I am where I am.
Yeah, right. You'll get there eventually.
You know.
You know
What's
that.
up, Cameron? Cameron's another one I've been wanting to have on the channel. I'll reach out to him. So Ben, I feel like I'm gonna have to pull teeth with you, man. I want you to just spill your minds if something pops in, you see a comment or what you got going on. I know you have a wife and a
What's up,
son, I
Dale?
want to say.
Well, I got a daughter and a son. Yeah,
Daughter.
not married, but might as
Yeah.
well be as long as we've been together. So
And how long has that been?
like 18 years
Yeah.
since I've been
Yeah.
18, basically.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey,
About
some
to have a son, so yeah.
I have family that have like been married forever, like 20 plus years, and then they divorce and then they come back together. Not to say I want you to break up, but it's just like our relationships are different. Some people don't want to be married and they're happy with just knowing that they're each other's without a certificate or a ring on their finger. Everybody has different like morals and understandings of what they want and don't want.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What's up, AR? AR Edwards has been like killing me in a good way on Twitter. Like he is all over Putin and Russia and all this stuff. And leave comments with people, and I it's funny because it's like there's these weird things that happen in life that something pops in that you see or hear, and then all of a sudden it's like a ripple effect. You could go to say like a grocery store and somebody's talking about what you just seen or heard, and then it's like later on you go somewhere else, somebody's talking about it or it's on the news, and it just like keeps going and going and going to where about this Russia stuff. I ended up finishing up at the gym, and right across the street they have Dutch Bros. I don't know if you're into coffee or like Dutch Bros if you have one in your area, but I love them. And when I get up to the window, I'm paying for my stuff, and usually the Dutch Bro people will have like this, like a checkoff list, like, hey, Ben, how you doing? How you doing, sir? What you got? Any plans today? That's cool. That's cool. It's like a routine, you know? So I try to be the first one to be like, hey, what's up? How are you doing as an employee to them? And this guy just opens up saying, like this cryptocurrency and these NFTs and Russia. And I'm just like, AR Edwards. Like, I'm just thinking this guy, that's all I'm picturing in my head. And he says something funny to me. He was like, like I see my money going down and Ethereum went down really bad and it was like this much. And, I'm thinking about like going across the street to this loan center and just taking out $100 for a loan, and I'm like, $100? Like, what are you gonna do with $100? Like taking out a loan, like kids, man. So I was cracking up with this guy.
I was a
What's
kid.
up, Danny? Hey? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How do you follow that stuff with NFTs and you know Russia and other things?
I don't really know about all the NFTs and
Me
Bitcoin
neither.
and all that. I was watching the stuff on Russia today though. And they what they doing over there. So yeah, it's crazy. But
I don't know much of what's going on other than it's not good, but I like to when I find myself kind of bored, after working a little bit here in my office or the garage or thrifting and sourcing, I try to take some time to really look into articles and read like news and things that I like. And one of them with Russia was saying that there's actually footage of what they're saying is happening right now, and people are
yeah,
using photos and background noises like they're like editing videos to make it look like it's recent, but they're actually old videos from something else and just doing voiceovers to have people send them money. Like there's a lot of scams out there. So they're like advertising on this app that I like to go to, Mashable. I was saying like these are the actual sites you want to follow if you want to follow legit people and news. But then at the same time, I was thinking like here in the US, there's different news stations that have different party that they side with. So it's like, how do you know what the full story is? What
yeah.
things are going on. I was just like, it's too much for me to keep up with. I just think about my family, what I'm working on, and making sure I'm safe before anything. And if shit ever hits the fan, I got several pew pew pews around here, so I'll be good.
Are you ready? So,
Oh, got
but
it.
yeah, that's yeah. As far as what to believe or not to believe, I mean, yeah,
You don't
you
know,
gotta question everything now.
Yeah, you do have to question everything. It's like reselling too. Like you see videos of like somebody selling something, and you see that same brand, and you're like, that didn't. There's no comps for that. Like it's up to you. Like it may have been just for them, and you don't see their comps online. It's not the same photo, and prices change. Like there's a lot of people that have pre-records, and we could make a big difference in a price spiking to where if you had waited a day, you would have saw a higher price or it drop tremendously. You could have. I feel like a lot of times that I noticed last year, not this year, but a lot of times, a lot of the things that I was getting, I feel like I found the item at the end of the trending of it, like its peak. Where it's like it's something else caught people's attention, and it's one thing I try to look at is like how are trends going and who do you follow for trends to try to keep up with it. But when you're sourcing, you never know what you're gonna find, regardless if you
Right,
know about it or not.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, trends. Yeah, you try to keep up with them, but like you said, everything's out there. So then it's like, what do you do? Like, and then people say to niche down and
What do I do?
all different
But
opinions, you know?
some people aren't fortunate. Like I would say, I am to say niche down. There's a lot of people that don't have enough items to really source for, so they're like really having to get out there and like talk to people or travel for hours to go somewhere else and make it worth it. And I feel like some of the times that gets skipped out on, like people not really finding things and sharing like, hey, I went out all day and I didn't find nothing, like sharing the struggle to keep people, you know their eyes wide open to say like, hey, you you may not have a good week, or a month. And that's why I'm big on savings. If times are slow, then what do you fall back on? Fall back on what you have. And I hope people are saving, even if it's $1, $5. Like it adds up just like anything else. But savings is so important. I wish I was saving when I first joined the military, and I would have probably had a lot of money, a lot more money than what I have now. But I was an idiot as a kid. I just saw money and I was like a one-day millionaire, just spending on everything and buying everybody drinks and partying. I didn't know any
Yeah.
better.
Whenever you get it, it's like you don't know how to handle it. So, but then you're like,
Ye-
oh, well, just have fun, you know?
yeah.
That's how it usually
And
goes.
it really is like that little three-letter word fun could really get you hurt in the future when you're like, I could have had fun differently and saved.
Yeah. So I try to have my daughter. She's real good with her money, and she's only 8. She always
Yeah.
makes us spend our money though. That's the thing. So
Just the little queen right there. What's up,
yeah,
Kristen, a real squirrel? Brought you up earlier saying our video will be out next week, Wednesday. And then if you haven't already, Mikey Moneybags Charmed LV on Instagram. He has a video of us from the bins. It was his birthday that day, so it's birthday week, I guess. You got a dog?
yeah, a couple of them.
Oh yeah.
I need to go and come inside.
Is it cold over there?
Oh yeah,
It's like maybe 40. I'm gonna say 46.
oh yeah. We're way way below that. It's
My
20 right
wife.
now.
Oh, 20?
Yeah,
Damn. It is not
starting to let
Charlotte.
them in.
It's 43 degrees. All right. Yeah, let him in, man.
Oh no,
Oh,
my son. I just told
oh,
my son to let him
oh. Because Danny said Maria 100% big on the Northwest. They would get their employees to drink as much as they could, trying different flavors and stuff. Must have missed something earlier. My daughter worked at Dutch Bros. It was like she was on crack for years. If you have it there, it's just like working when I worked at pizza places. I was telling my wife this story when I worked at a pizza place. Have you ever worked at a pizza place or fast
in.
food?
No,
No?
uh, I worked at KFC, Long John Silver's.
Damn. Well, you're probably always munching on the food.
Oh yeah, when I could, yeah, and I was making the chicken, so yeah.
I was telling her about one of these guys, a bartender. He probably still bartends. This guy's amazing at bartending. His name's JR. And I was working the fast line at this pizza place, and he would be like, "Hey, Sonny, what you like?" And I'll be like, "Well, what can you make me? Can you make me a mojito? But I want it sweet, like berries." And he was like, "Mojito, like berries?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I got you." So he comes back, and every time I think about this, I talk about this, my mouth just waters. Like this drink was so good, but it was a virgin drink because I was working. You know what I mean? So every time he would give me one, but he would be like, "Hey, like anybody mess up any orders?" And after a while, I was like, "No, no, I'm not gonna mess up no orders. Like I'm a perfectionist. I'm freaking awesome." So after a while, I'm like, "Oh, light bulb went off. Like, hey, I'm giving you a drink. Hook me up with some food." So before you knew it, man, it was like a few weeks later, other people were doing the same thing, and you would see like all these dishes of food in the back room in the kitchen, and the bosses would come in and be like, "What's up with all these orders?" And like, oh, this person was pissed and ended up getting drunk and left it. It's like, we're skimming the bosses free food for drinks from our own employees. Like employees are funny, man. I never
Yeah,
want to work in a fast food place again. It's not for me. It was only for just to get a paycheck, and so I ended up going to college.
yeah. There's been a lot of exchanges that went on. Yeah, for food.
Yeah. A lot. And it was
Yeah.
funny. This boss, he was awesome to me. He would say, "Hey, Sonny, I want you to come with me." So right when I'm gonna go clock out, he's like, "No, no, no, don't clock out. You're gonna hang out with me all day." And he would literally just we would hang out like bro migos, cruise around Oahu. We would look at furniture. He would ask me like, "Hey, I'm trying to do this with the company. What do you think?" And I'm just like, "Oh, that's cool." You know, like I wasn't trying to put my 2 cents in too much, but just getting paid to chill out with them. And afterwards, he'd be like, "Now we're back at the company, at the pizza place. Don't clock out. Like everybody's gonna drink at the bar if they want to stay." So he would drink for hours at the bar. It was all his. Like this guy's freaking rich.
Oh, that must have been nice.
It was.
When was that? How long ago?
Man, that was back like in 2011. Like I
Uh,
was, they were supposed to start October, but then they ended up getting pushed back to like finish the construction for their kitchen and stuff. Like pretty expensive equipment. So it ended up being like November is when I started, and then I was there until probably like summer when I started college. True story for me. No fines today. It happens, but it's okay not to find stuff. Like because the value in not finding anything and you're outsourcing, you still build knowledge in what you can find, later. Because there's things you do find, but then it's like you find something damaged and it's not worth getting. So it's just like you're educating yourself on what to get and what not to get.
yeah, I'm trying to
So
go
Dan,
for the higher higher dollar things now too, but it's hard when something looks like a good deal, but then you got to really look into everything you can research, detailed, super detailed.
yeah, I don't know if you saw the video I put on Instagram, and on there I have like these Brioni, um, White Saint Laurent, uh, Brooks Brothers, like all these really good names, right? And I was taking photos today after taking measurements and stuff. Even after measurements, I didn't see it, but when I was hanging it up on the wall right here about an hour ago, I saw like the buttons were missing on some of the cuffs, and I'm like, damn it, like even after looking at it thoroughly in the store, taking measurements, looking at every little thing, like it still got by. I think I still would have got it, but the only thing is with the more expensive items like these Brioni coats, blazers, it's not a sew through like the not just the button on the top, but like on the inside, you won't see the stitching because there's a lining in it. That's the part where it like really kicks you in the butt.
Yeah, I try to look at like suit jackets and stuff before. I don't even know what to look for honestly. Like the sizes, it's hard to find the sizes in some, or no, I don't even know what sizes sell. I guess just research them, but I know there's money
That
in those
I'm
somewhere.
not familiar with blazers like that, to be honest. Like I've sold probably maybe 5 blazers, like really good ones. Polo Ralph Lauren, 100% linen, and I know linen does really good. And the one that I had, I knew it'd be like around $90, and I think it sold for 70. But either way, I bought it for $7, and I probably had it listed probably for 4 months. So I was like, that's a good deal to me. Because it still sold more than what other people are selling theirs for, like 40, even though it was worth like twice as much, like probably around 150 or more. And I just look up like anybody else, look up tags. What is this? I don't know this. I've never come across it. So
Yeah, just take time. That's the most thing. If you don't know what it is.
yeah, I see you sell a lot of clothing. Not clothing. Toys.
Well, yeah, with my daughter, she had a whole bunch that she wanted to get rid of now. Selling the Peppa Pig stuff that sells pretty good. Some of them,
That's what I hear, but I don't see it.
like the individual, it takes a little while, but like I just sold like a slide alone for like it's only like $7, but still, if some people are lotting up the whole thing for like 15, then somebody's buying this slide for 7. I mean, but I'm like I said, I'm trying to get a higher dollar amount items or whatever now.
But you do Amazon as well, right? That's what you're saying on Derek
A
and
little bit.
Regina's.
I ain't been really active in it lately because you gotta like have like inventory, like new stuff, a lot of new stuff usually because I can't sell like some CDs or something like that, like stuff that you can get in abundance and always have. coming in because you need like the Walmart stuff, like the clearance and all that. That's what I. Whenever I get anything, that's usually what it is. Something that's on clearance because I don't have like pallets or nothing coming in. So
Gonna end up getting your channel so I could share it. I forgot. I didn't know who's gonna pop on. I just asked a few people if they would pop on with me, but I'm gonna get your channel and share it in here. I don't want it to be loud. I'll do it in a second. Putting too much stuff around my table. What is
yeah,
up, David the Gent? Thanks for coming in.
so,
Justin, it's funny to say what I was about to say. I heard myself before. I said that people are very opinionated, but if you talk, it's your opinion always, But Justin, if you haven't seen his lives, especially if he's in his garage, like every time I end up seeing it, he ends up smashing something like with his sledgehammer.
yeah, I never seen it. I don't know if I'm subscribed to him.
No. I would say if you're not subscribed to anybody and you're all in the live chat, then you're obviously like-minded for the most part, and I think you would enjoy each other. It's all I'm saying. And I do appreciate all of y'all coming in, especially on Thirsty Thursdays. I was very thirsty from the moment I woke up, thinking about this 805s that I was gonna go buy and consume. And I'm really thinking now with Mikey Moneybags, is that he's always pushing like 805, right? Like pushing it hard. He drinks it often when he does his lives. He has one either right now that he's been doing since 1 p.m. He goes in Vegas every Thursday and just shows a different like thing about Vegas. He buys, sells, eat, drink. So a lot of his stuff goes back to buying food or gambling. And he said in 2 weeks, I'll probably join him here in Vegas on his live. So if that's the case, I may end up either pushing the Thirsty Thursdays like early for that particular day so I could join them. If not, it's going to be a lot later. But I see that with doing these lives, I think I get about the same amount of people that come in whether I do it earlier or later. So thanks
Yeah.
everybody. What are you trying to do on your platform, Ben? Social media, Instagram, YouTube.
I mean, YouTube right now kind of been trying to put out more videos, but I know I got to get out there more. That's what it is because that's what people want to see. So just be
Mhm.
consistent. So yeah,
What's that mean
that's
for
what.
you to be consistent? Like, what is consistent your
Just
routine to be
put a
consistent?
video out at least like once a week, probably something. See what you're doing, letting people know what you're doing. Because I mean, it's easy to forget about somebody if they ain't put nothing out, and then YouTube will unsubscribe anyway. So
I think I'm not forgotten so easily only because I'm very active in other people's live chats to where a lot of the faces like even on here there right now like I see them in other ones. Like we kind of follow more or less the same people to where I'm still in a way relevant. But I do agree I need to be better at putting out more content. And I can. I just it's one of those things like my wife telling me like, babe, throw out the trash. And I'm like, I know I need to do it, but I don't want to do it. Like don't tell me what to do. And that for me is like the YouTube. Like I prefer to do the lives because it's so much easier than sitting down using 3-4 hours to edit videos. And I have a lot of stuff recorded. I record it like I did yesterday, which the videos I shared on Instagram, but I just don't sit my butt down, put it together, and put it online. But I guess I'm going through something right now, being a big baby.
do you like editing when you got the videos though? Once you start doing it,
Yeah, like I do. I love it. I went to school for digital media. I feel like it's still part of me being an artist, like to show my creativity and like how I just am and talk. And um, I've been doing some lives now for a while, whether it's on my channel or others, and like I do spill my guts, but it's fun. I don't regret it. Like when I turn off in the broadcast. I don't regret anything I say. It's not like, oh man, I shouldn't say that, but I do think about like, oh, I shouldn't talk about my mother-in-law, that she needs to get out, because she might be hearing me downstairs. Like old people pretend, like they can't hear nothing, but they probably hear everything, so they could use it against you later. But I do go back and say like my mother-in-law is amazing. Like I just joke around, just a kid, but sometimes I'm not. It's like I just want privacy.
Right.
You
That's just part of when you real. I see that you pretty real compared to a lot of people. I mean,
There,
yeah.
well, there's a lot of real people, and it's one thing with my wife. We were talking to one of her cousins because they're like any family, people bump heads, right? And I was telling them like, you could always have something to say, but if it's not working, don't feel overwhelmed. Like you need to put everything on your plate to take care of. You shouldn't always be the one that has all the answers or trying to figure things out, because people are just going to come right back and point at you and say, well, Ben, it's everybody's mix, saying this and that, and you have every good intention, but good intentions could easily be turned to where you're the bad guy, or the bad girl. Like,
Right.
should let people grow up and stop giving so much handouts, to where they have to mature and realize like, oh crap, nobody wants to help me. What are you going to do? You either give up or you figure it out yourself. That's when you really start becoming an adult. Go to an auction now and only spend 500. I say yes. I save 500 a day. See, that's a lot. I really look at like now. Like, do you have like a price bin of like, oh man, I'm uncomfortable buying like a T-shirt or a toy for a certain amount?
No, I mean some. I bought some stuff recently, some shirts, and like I don't know. I'm trying to go in a higher dollar, but then when like I said, I got a lot of some stuff for a certain price. I mean, I think I can make my money back, and then a few
Mm,
other shirts, I know are worth money. So it if you know you're making money off of some of it, it's not so bad. But
mm.
I'm trying to get to a price point like 20 or higher at least, for anything.
Do you have like really good or enough places to where sourcing for stuff and finding stuff isn't a problem?
Yeah, about 45 minutes away. There's a lot of Goodwills and like rescue mission places like that, thrift stores, all that. And then locally, there's one Goodwill and then like a couple mom and pops. So yeah,
Yeah.
I just
I
got
need
so
to
much
get
stuff
more into
here
mom and pop.
already. Like what?
I need to get more into mom and pops. Like I see them, especially when I do like offer up sales. Like I go to new areas that I haven't been to before here in Vegas. Like you would think I would just drive around and you could get every spot. It's small, but it's not that small, you know. And driving does take a lot of time. So every once in a while, I was like, I'm gonna remember that place, and like, no, I don't. But that's probably one thing I do want to work on, is getting out more with local resellers. Danny, the niche lady, is one huge YouTuber, awesome, awesome lady. Her content, and what she does is just one like Kevin Commonwealth. Like they are just video, 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 and it's on point. Like you could tell the experienced people, like super experienced people who are more to me like they could be appraisers. They could look at something and tell you the price. Like they could do that. Me, I'm more like the basic person. I know a little bit, but not enough to be in that kind of like stature. And
Mm.
she's one like, Sunny, let's meet up. Let's do this. And I haven't. And as of recently meeting with Christian and Mikey is like, okay, I need to meet up with Danny and I need to figure some things out and push things either earlier for me to be with them or later, like on my end, and stop making excuses like this is my routine, this is how I do it. Like I need to bend a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's a good opportunity, you don't want to miss
Yeah.
out or make it seem like you don't want to or whatever. I mean, yeah, but I understand you got other things in life that go on too. So yeah, you know what works best for you, but you know what you got to do also. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think a lot of the stuff like that I have bad habits on isn't so much like I do these things physically, it's more mental. And I think the military is like the one where being a sergeant and being in charge of people, like you're responsible for them. So you're kind of anal at times. And I feel like I was really good with the soldiers that I had and other ones that were in the company to where like if I probably made a particular face like you're making now, they would be like, "Oh shit, I pissed off Ben. I'm just gonna do push-ups." And people were like, I remember one sergeant coming in, one of my close friends, Jerry Portisano. He comes in and one of the soldiers is doing push-ups, and he was like, "Who dropped you to do push-ups? Sergeant Sanchez dropped you? What'd you do?" Automatically, he thought I dropped him, and knew that if he was doing push-ups and I was there, that the soldier did something wrong. Like kudos to me, but at the same time, he was like, "No, I kicked the Humvee door. I looked over, Sergeant Sanchez was there, and I was like, shit." The way Sergeant Sanchez looked at me, I felt butthurt. Like I screwed up. I'm gonna do push-ups. It was just funny. Like you could be that way with people, and they could listen to you, even though you could be anal, but it's just for the best intentions to look out for people. And when you could say something, people listen. Whether you say something or not, it could be as simple as a look. Sarcastic Stacker, thanks for coming in. I don't think I said hello earlier, but I wanted to. Angelo, and I did see your comment saying you came over from Rachel Strickland's live. I've been trying to keep up with her, but there's a lot of channels that are like at the same time, so I like show love to both. I've tried the method of like one video, like our screen is right here, me and you, Ben. So it's like I have one here and I have one there, but then it's like the audio just messes with me.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm crazy. I have PTSD. I have ringing in the ear, and then usually my mother-in-law has like the TV on with their iPad on full blast, and the neighbors talking, and it's just like too much. I was like, no, one video, and I go back and watch it. I'll go
Yeah,
catch
I
up.
mean, I'll have my phone on and the TV on one sometimes, watching people.
Well, one time I knew I was too much. I went downstairs. I was watching TV downstairs. I had my iPad on, and then I was watching YouTube videos on my phone. And I'm just like, this is too much, man. Like two tops, but like three things. Like that's
Mm.
just too much. Like stop, man. I don't need to be in the mix with everything or be there. Like that's one thing I do like about YouTube and just content on social media. You could always go back and catch up on things.
Yeah, it can be like a little overwhelming to even just watch. Period. Not even just to keep up. Just get tired of watching it all the time.
Yeah.
And I like it's like there's so many other things out there and topics or whatever that you can find that interest you or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's like when you're on that, they know like you're on the thrifting YouTube. Like you gotta have a separate YouTube almost for to look at anything different. That's all they
Do you
like throwing.
do you have a separate YouTube account for that?
Yeah, I just am always on that one automatically. I just should sign up, bro.
Really? And then when you're gonna watch, like, say, follow up on resellers, you switch over to that account, or
Yeah,
you are logged in on another platform, or say iPad, and you use that for
I
that.
don't know, just my phone and like a TV. I'll be down working, just trying to listen in the background. But
Mm.
other things are more like you learn more. You already know a lot from reselling. It's like the same stuff over and over sometimes, but I don't know. It's just different. Good to watch different things or whatever.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of UFC fights, and it's usually before I go to the gym, just get that adrenaline up, like, oh, I'm gonna go kick some ass, and then like 2 minutes into like the treadmill on a 4 incline and at a 6 probably, like I'm just like, oh, I'm dead. Like I need to get that incline down to a decline and then drop the speed down, walk for a second, and then just start running.
Yeah, I mean, you got to really dedicate yourself to that when you exercise too. Try to get back in shape.
Yeah, I
There's
was
only
looking
something
at
black.
Mikey Moneybags' his video. Like to me on camera, like right here, I don't feel like I'm a big dude, like out of shape dude. Not so much big dude. But his either he had a bad angle of me, or it's just like I am chubby. Like I need to kick it in gear. So when I went in today, after looking at the video, I'm just like, man, I am like I don't know, man, like a boiled potato that's been thrown around and it's got smushed, and like I need to do something with my life, man, physically. So when I went to the gym today, I'm like, I was giving it my all, man. I was grunting, and I used to make fun of people in the gym like that would grunt like ugh, ugh, and that was me today. I'm like, man, I'm getting rid of this. Like I need to, I want to see not so much my ribs, but I want to see my kneecaps every now and then.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to when I was 18, but Or even like 10 years ago, I thought I was bad then, but then you look at now, like, wow, look at me now. It's even harder when you're older. So,
100%, man.
well, at least for me. I mean, some other people might say otherwise. But
Yeah, Dan, I was seeing that on your video. The squall, the snow squall. I was like, man, what is so on Dan's video? If you haven't checked it out, check out Dan's. I really like his channel as well. I've actually been trying to get Ben and Dan to come on and trying to get them together because I just like them. I like their vibes. I like the way they are, and I've been reaching out to them. But in Dan's video, he was like, yeah, they got a snow squall, and I'm like, what the hell is a snow squall? So I jumped on Google on my phone. I was like, oh, it's snow. It's like code front in a way, but it's just different terminology, I guess, for different origins of the state or whatever have you. And I believe his dad, when he said there's a snow squall, he like looks up at the sky, and I'm looking at the video, like trying to look at the sky too, because you could see it in the background. I'm like, man, it looks like it's gonna be a clear day. Like it looked like blue in the back or whatever, clear sky. And then like a few minutes later, they were outside and it's just like snowing. And I'm just like, oh shit, that's crazy. I'm glad we don't have that here because there'd be a lot of homeless people suffering.
that same thing happened up here in Illinois. And I never heard of that until the other day. Like when that happened, it probably was the same day. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It probably traveled from one way or the other, I would think. But
Are you on
yeah,
the
I've
East
never.
Coast too?
I'm in, like in the Midwest, like in Illinois,
Um,
like in the middle, kind of.
it
But
could.
yeah,
Well, yeah, Illinois gets. Oh man, I was over there one time for December, whole month of December. I hated it, but the food was amazing though. Worst time to go in over there is in December. Horrible.
yeah, it gets cold.
Yeah. What's up, Luis? I've been following Luis here recently, not just on his YouTube channel. I've been following him for some time, but on Twitter, I ended up putting something in my, I believe, Instagram story, and a few other people have jumped on Twitter as well. I like Twitter. I've been trying to use it recently, kind of like reach other resellers, discover other entrepreneurs, and it's growing slowly but surely. And I'm just trying to figure some things out, like the way I talk and the way people use Twitter. Like I'll give you an example. I'm going to find one here, right? Like people end up talking the way other people do and trying to sound like them unintentionally. And like I remember this one off the top of my head. So I got a question for you, and you could answer it, right? And I'll tell you what my answer was to this person. It was like, who's the best little rapper?
Like with the name Lil something or a little
Yeah.
kid rapper. What do you?
However you take it.
I would say Lil Wayne.
Little Wayne. So I took it as like literally little. So I said Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys. And then people were just messaging like, dude, you're a fool. And I'm like, oh, they meant like Little Wayne, like Little Zane, all these other people. But it's just funny. And I've been trying to hold on to that on Twitter, not so much like, oh, you're trying to sound like the best answer, like who would you pick? Drake over if you could be one person for a day and your option was Drake or Kanye, which one would you pick?
Probably Drake.
Drake? Why?
Because I don't know. He's I don't know. Honestly, he probably ain't got as many problems right now as Kanye. That's what I would think. But we only know what they show. So
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I was looking at it. I was like, I said Drake too. Like I was typing it in. I put Drake, and I was like, wait, why would I pick Drake though? Like he has good music. Both of them have good music. And then I started getting to like, well, Drake has hair, like, and Kanye just screwed up his hair. And I'm just like, so much stuff popped in my head. It was like, I'm retarded, but it was just like, who picks stuff like this? What's up, Darlene? Thanks for coming in. Do my best to keep up with the chat, but also like just talking to Ben. I really been trying to, I told Ben earlier, behind the scenes, like I've been wanting him just to like unload, spill his brains, like he's very chill in his videos, and I enjoy watching the videos when he has it. And it's just like, man, just find some good stuff in his videos. Like he's just like, whatever, I put a video together, got this, got that, and bye, deuces. Like I like it. I like the way people are different and not so much the same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't try to overdo it. Like, people are with the high pitched, fast talking voice or whatever. That I mean, I guess it sells to people though. It seems like those are the ones that people watch though. Like I know the monotone thing probably does bore people, but I don't know. That's why people watch them people like that though. I think.
Well, if Tracy was here, I know this was brought up probably a month ago, and they were talking about people like that, where you just said like the monotone, and then Shed flips Lonnie, like he
Yeah.
has that voice, but he's really good at what he does, and I think it's good to have like I just like people that are different in themselves. Like we could have the thing in common, like reselling, but reselling isn't the only thing we do. Like people have hobbies, people have natural talents that they don't share because you're kind of told in a way like niche down. And it was like I know why, but I don't agree with it necessarily. And that's why I share what I do, like with the thumbnails, t-shirts, things like that. I don't push it on like, hey everybody, every time like buy a t-shirt and links in the description, which it is, but it's just not me anymore to be that type of person, like to be a salesman. It's just like I'll mention every now and then, or somebody will mention it or bring it up, and then I go that way. And that's more of like how I am. Whereas like if somebody brings it up, something I haven't been talking about, but it's there, it's like, oh, cool, people are noticing. You don't have to talk about it all the time and beat a dead horse.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Jennifer, for putting Ben's link up on there.
thank you, Jennifer.
What's up, Doc? Doc Shay in the house.
What's up, sir?
If you're having any symptoms, Shay right here will help you out. A lot of them are probably going to be like home remedies, weeds and rocks you could crush up from your backyard and use to heal like a wound, gunshots and things like that. So I would say check out the Doc MD Picker Shay. uh, Hello again, darling. Riso Nitch, what's up, Mo? I haven't been seeing you on lately, Mo. Hope all is well. Pretty sure you're a busy man.
What's up,
Hope
man?
whatnot is working out. I know the last time it was like your first time. I haven't seen something since then. And I saw my homie, the Art of Resale Art Doodle, who I've been having on every now and then. He just got approved for whatnot too. He was sharing that on his Instagram story, and I was like, that's dope.
I caught his
I'm not
other
a
video the other day that he
Have
had
you been
coming.
getting on it? Have you made any purchases or
Oh yeah, I was saying I watched his video the other day, the one he put out where he bought the helmets and stuff. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but yeah, I've been on there. I bought some. That's where I got some of them shirts. But yeah, that's why I was saying like maybe I shouldn't have got those. But if you know you can make the money back and have a profit,
Yeah, I think some of that stuff too, though, it's good, especially as a reseller. And say you buy something from somebody like that, and you're not on it, but you're probably thinking about it. It's good to know the customers and like how things work out, the payments, how it's received to you. Like it's never really that easy, but it's just good to be informed on the customers and how things work out. What you see, what they don't see, on both sides.
all right.
Danny. Well, that's the thing, Danny. If you're just gonna do it out of love and you're having fun, because Danny had, you got to see her show, especially today's. Like I was cracking up. I think Cameron might have been in there earlier too. Gravity Goods. I think I might have just missed them because they were mentioning them in the live chat, but I didn't see him pop back up. But he's like he says when he's usually in the live chat, say hi, hello, and then he doesn't get out of it. He listens while he's working. But it's crazy. Danny's channel. What her who was it? Johnny was there today, and Lisa. They had theirs, and I'm just like, these ladies are nuts, and I love it. Like they're just being them. Like, and that's one thing I've been like. My wife laughs at me since we've been together. Is that she's like, you're like a big kid. You want to buy these toys and these items, and I'm like, I didn't have a childhood. I worked picking watermelons. From the age 13, I was kicked out, and Like I've worked all these hard jobs, so now that I'm older and I could afford to do these things that I said I wish I would have when I was a kid, like ain't nobody gonna stop me, you know? And she gets pissed off, but she's just like, oh well, it's my money. I don't ask her for nothing. And then she calls me a big kid. And I just feel like if you're having fun, like that's the best. I think laughing, family time, having friends is like the best thing to just live a good life. Like it's just simple things, you know, hangouts.
All right. It doesn't always gotta be cost money either. Like you could just be with your family, just doing anything. Yeah.
Nice, Justin. You know, some people have like these big items that they sell. Well, to me, it's like big items, like $100 or more. And like I used to find them often, and I'm not finding too much, but I'm still finding some really good stuff to flip that I'm noticing. Like, oh, nobody's really looking in this toy section or these plushes. And that's what Chris got me into, an Cajun reseller. He has all these plushes, and I'm just like, yo, this guy's making bank. Like I see all these plushes, especially at Savers over here. It's like a whole wall section, like a huge wall.
Yeah, we don't have savers around here. There used to be one like an hour and a half away, and then that one closed for some reason. But
Yeah.
I ain't been to one yet.
Hey, Danny. I was just talking good stuff about you earlier. You and Mikey Moneybags saying how it's I'm wanting to meet up with more of everybody that's here in Vegas. And you're one that I definitely want to hang out with, especially with Mikey at the same time. Mikey just good vibes. Like this dude's freaking amazing. The way he is on camera when he's excited, like he's really like that in person, nonstop, just chill. Someday they're gonna finish the construction. They're freeways here. Oh man, there's a lot of areas. One thing I don't like here in Vegas is that there's a when you're going towards I live like northwest area, so when you're going like towards the strip, there's a California hotel like downtown Las Vegas. Once you get in that area, there's usually construction, and it's horrible. You definitely don't want to go there an hour and a half before like say noon, or 2 hours after 12 noon, because there's just horrible traffic. And then now there's some kind of close where I'm at, but it's not too bad. But it's just like traffic here sometimes horrible. But nothing like Austin or San Antonio when it's like bumper to bumper and you're not moving anywhere for like an hour but 2 feet. Like that's really bad. Vegas really isn't like that.
Yeah, it's not like that here. It's such a small town. Even the bigger towns around here, it's not that bad. But I expect it from Vegas or somewhere though.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
No, not bad. And it's like a grid, so it's not like you could like San Antonio when I go, it's like, oh, that's not too bad either. I don't think I've really been in places where well actually Hawaii was. If you missed a route in Hawaii, like depending on what route it was, like you end up in Kapolei. Like you're gonna end up driving like 20 miles or like complete opposite side so you could finally do a U-turn or turn around on a road to turn back around. Like you could some roads you don't want to miss. You know, here in Vegas is more like a grid. Every quarter mile you could turn around somewhere. Or right around the block and get back to your street. It's not bad at all. Can't watch and work. My brain says I can watch and work, but I really can't. I just end up starting to work and then I just watch the entire time, especially when it's just interesting and you're caught up having conversations with people in the chat as well. Aloha me out in Oahu, who might be a new resident here in Vegas sometime, also an entrepreneur. Yeah, a lot of things in common, me and her. I say that every time. Snowing there. Whew. It doesn't even snow here. What was it? It was like 36 degrees this morning, and I right away I just turned on the our fireplace, our little gas light fireplace. So comfy. And I went outside and I was like I was cold as hell. Had jacket on,
30
sweats,
in
socks.
Vegas.
Hmm. I get nervous at the niche lady at Danny because it says I must provide invoices from wholesale or something like that. I have to really try and figure it out. Reach out to people that are doing it. That's what I would say, Dan. Sometimes the answer is easier, better just asking, especially when there's other people in the community that are doing the same thing. Like nobody should feel ashamed to ask. Like I've had handful of people recently are like, Sonny, do you want to go live on my show? And I was like, man, I've been waiting. They're like, well, why haven't you said anything? And I'm like, I'm just not that type of person anymore. Like I really stopped a long time ago, years ago, putting my hand out and asking for help, to where it's like it's been a good thing, but it's like I get where they're coming from, but it's just like not trying to be that guy. Like I feel weird about it now.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if my channel grows, it grows, but I mean, I'm not gonna like, I don't know, harass people to, push me out there or nothing like that. I'd
Mm.
rather do it organically, anyways.
You know what? The more I hear people say do it organically, like I get what they say, but at the same time, it's like, do like if you want to go on other people's live chats and they give, like if it makes you happy getting numbers, like I do honestly prefer the so-called organic method of like you really want a fan base that supports you. And Regina and Derek talk about that. Like we don't want just to follow. And Tracy says this too. So does Tommy. More Tracy than anything. But they're like, hey, you really do want the organic numbers of like true fan base people. And then it's like, how do you keep them though? Now I'm saying if you got them in doing what you're doing already, like don't change nothing. Just keep working towards it and implement little things along the way. Unless you're like, hey, I'm going all out and see how people are, because you won't know how people react to something unless you put it out there.
Yeah, right, exactly.
65. I would prefer 65. It's in the 40s here. Oh, my amigo, I just seen him another day. Went by his house, dropped off some bikes. He ended up selling me this big Buddha head, and I have a tattoo of Buddha right here, like a young Buddha. And when I was at his house, I was leaving after buying some stuff. He was like, "Hey, you don't want that right there?" And I was like, looked over, and I was like, "Damn, when was that there?" He was like, "It's been there the whole time." And I didn't want it, but I knew my wife's cousin would want it, so I sent her a picture, and she was like, "I want it, get it." So he sold it to me for like $20, and it's crazy because this big Buddha head would probably be like at Home Goods, probably for like around 150, 170, you know? And I could end up also telling my wife's cousin, like, hey, I'm going to sell it to you for like, say, 50. But I was like, no, I bought it for 20. After she said she wanted it, he held it for me and I ended up getting it for her. But it's like pretty cool. But the same person that bought that Buddha head gave me some bikes. I have two fixed gears and then there was like two kids' bikes, Huffies or something. And I was like, I know I didn't want it. And I was like, I know the way he turns stuff at his yard sales. And I was like, I'm going to give it to him. So I ended up hitting him up and saying, hey, you at home? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to drop this stuff off. He was like, I'll drive to you. And I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I'll take it to you. It's kind of the good peeps that he is. Saludos, Luis. Bien aquí. En la bola. So hardworking, man. I like Little Mix. Really good channel. And he doesn't live far from me either. It's like 3-4 blocks down. Well, 3 streets down. Why was Justin hidden? Somebody hide Justin? Oh yeah. What's up, Doc Diggle? Got Doc in the house. What's up, Ben? Cheers, bruh.
Oh, Doc.
Always trolling IG, not the chat. What's up, Krill? What's up, Bobby, my dude? Gotta
What's
have
up, bro?
Bobby on. I
Back
gotta
in.
have him on here. Again, I haven't had him in a while. Have an entire plush. I wish this like live chat was actually like right under the screen so I could stay looking straight rather than like to the side.
I don't even have this hat on.
No.
Nah, I do.
Uh,
See, James is in here too.
What have you been using reselling for? Just passive income? Trying to build
Yeah,
it higher,
basically.
like
Trying to what?
trying to build it higher into like a business or
Yeah, I mean, I I know I just gotta work harder. That's all it is. I mean, for anything, anybody just put in the work. But yeah, I mean, trying to make a living off of it, basically. So or help out. So
Mhm.
I could be doing better, but I'm not complaining. So Wait, you say you're
Uh,
part time now?
no, I'm full time. I've
Oh,
been
I
full
thought you
time
were
now for 6 months. Yeah. And it's one thing I was worried about because somebody did bring a good comment or their 2 cents on it saying, some people say they're full time, but they're not making the money to make it work like you would a full time job. And I was like, man, that's a really good concept and something to bring up. Like, because you could do full time part time job. Like, hey, I'm full time part timer. People twist stuff and they understand what they're saying. So when they said that, I was like, man, yeah, that's true. Like I knew when I was gonna go full time, like I was already making numbers that I was doing better at even at work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was like one day I made exactly what I was making at work for that day or more, and then give it 2 or 3 days, and it's like I actually already made what I did, let's say on eBay, compared to a week or two at work. Depending on what I found and how things are turning. Like that's the only thing you never know. That's the kind of like pros and cons of like a company. When you're going to get paid every 2 weeks, so you manage that money out, you stretch it. But then when you do eBay, you're like, oh, you know what? I could spend all this money. It's like, and then you may not have a sell, and it's just like shit. Bills are coming up. So I really thought about all this stuff to really watch my back. So the biggest thing that drove me was I didn't want my wife saying, and I don't want her saying like, hey, it's not working out. You got to go work. You know. So that's me of her really scaring me than anything else that drives me. She's little, but she's a firecracker. What's up, Jeremy?
I seen you guys had like your own like YouTube thing for a little bit. I
Me and
seen
my
that
wife?
came across to my like recommendations at one time. Yeah,
Uh, Me and my wife's channel?
yeah. It just popped up one day. I don't know why, but
Oh, I think because I probably used to have it in my like on YouTube. You could have a setting or thing where you want to showcase who you follow, like you kind of recommend people. Like not so much like the people that are following you or who you're following, but it's actually like a recommended list. And it used to be on there, but then it was just like my wife's not wanting to do anything with it, so I'll end up adding other people, to this list. So I change it up every few months just to show love. If somebody sees it and it helps out to go towards their channel, whether they say it's like, oh, because I saw Sunny's channel and it recommended you. Like it doesn't matter to me. I just hope that it helps in some way. Get people over, see why I follow people and enjoy them the same way I do. What's up, Eric
yeah.
Hughes? I started with trash picking and free stuff. Stay motivated. That's what Elomix does, and I'm sure he buys some of the stuff, from out of town. Because he, one of the first times I ended up going to his garage sale, and the next one I think is going to be like in 2 weeks. But he was like, "Yeah, I ended up getting this from his cousin or something," and he had a lot of hats. I ended up scoring like such a good deal, $1 per hat, and they were selling for like $15. It's probably around like 20 plus hats. You ever pick stuff from like the trash or dumpsters or see something on the side of the road and you're like, yo, that's money.
Yeah, I picked up like a pressure washer before. Actually, I kept that. I still have to actually test it actually, but yeah. Like some old Barbie Dream House, like the old ones. Yeah, anything. If it's, I mean, not anything, but if y'all know it's got some value in it, it's free. Yeah, I ain't got no shame.
What did Jeremy say here? Sonny, if you don't put yourself out there showing up to a bunch of folks' live streams and making comments, I'd have probably never started following you. You put in work. I try it and I could do more, Jeremy, and everybody that's here. Like I believe we could always put in more work. but it's just like I'm feeling really good about just being content of like where I'm at. Like in a way, this may sound dumb, but I feel like if I change something, it's gonna change the way I feel. Like I'm gonna ruin something. And I guess because I always had hardships to where it's like I encourage people to open up, just like Jeremy's saying here, and people do it. And I do share like my downfalls and what's going on because it helps me like be realistic about myself of like what I could do, what other people could do, and I'm showing it, but I could really do more when it comes to like reselling. And it's not a bad thing not doing more because I'm making what I need to and sometimes more than that. But at the same time, it's like when it comes down to the videos, I know it's like Sonny, put in the work. People do want it, and I get requested like, "When are you gonna put a video out?" I get private messages. I get text messages. I just called. Well, actually, my aunt called me yesterday, and it's one of those things that's scary. Like you have that favorite aunt or uncle or cousin or neighbor, and they don't call you, right? You talk to them, but then when they do call you, you're like, shit, what's going on? Like, I hope everything's okay. And it was okay. It was just like if I wanted to sponsor one of my little cousins, quinceañera, and I'm just like, she was like, you know why I'm calling you, right? And I'm like, first of all, I hear the way your voice is, and it's not bad. And I was like, you want to poke my eyes? And she was like, yeah. So I was like, how much? And she was like, oh, just 50. And I'm like, I throw 50s at you all day, especially for a family. And a
Right.
while back, the same side of the family back in Charlotte, Texas, they're like, hey, one of my other cousins, it's like second cousin, but they're like, hey, she has a quinceañera, and they're trying to do a Snapchat and do an overlay to where if they're at the quinceañera, and they do Snapchat and they have something for her customized. And I looked into it and it was just like it wasn't bad. You could do it. I don't know if any of y'all know that, but it's pretty cool that Snapchat could do that. And I do want to, speaking of that, I do want to look more into like add my own little gifts like on um Instagram and things like that to where it's like little touches maybe people could use as well, if they want to use sunny Las Vegas or something. Like, I just think it's cool to add those little things here and there. What's up, my born reseller life? Gary Westside. Aloha, my dude. Liz Moore, hello. Craigslist has plenty of free stuff that's flip worthy. There's a lot of offer up stuff here that I want to get, but it's just too big in the space. I need to clear up a lot of stuff in my garage. If not, I would do it, but I don't. I'm starting to kind of look like a hoarder in my garage, and I need a. It's not bad, but to me it is. Like I've never had this much stuff.
Yeah, you accumulate a lot real quick if you
Real
got
quick.
limited space too.
Yeah. Do you just use? Is that your basement or a separate room that you use, or
Yeah,
you
this is
use
a
other
separate
parts of the
room.
house?
Yeah, I got all my bins and stuff in like another room, right in the same area though. But it's like almost to capacity now. That's why I want to get rid of the lower value stuff and start having more high dollar stuff. Try
Yeah.
to at least. And then I used to like box all my stuff ahead of time, so that takes up more room too. But it does save on like time if I got to get something shipped out real quick. But I think the space, I don't know. How you don't probably pre-pack nothing either, right? Like most
Um,
people don't.
I'm laughing because I'm like, some things yes, some things no. But like if it's like a t-shirt,
Well,
t-shirts, I
yeah,
I I put them in the sleeves because I could see it. But when I have say multiple stuff of the same thing, right, and they're different sizes, I do make sure to have the labels show, on the sleeve, like or I write a Sharpie on there like large or XL, so that way I'm not grabbing the wrong one because I did that in the beginning, and I'm like, man, how do I fix this? I was like, crap, I forgot I had two of the same thing. And the person messaged like, "Hey, I got the shirt, but it's not the right size." And I'm like, "Damn, how do I deal with this? Are they going to send it back?" And after a while, I learned like if I screw up, hey, here's a refund. Here's a new. You can't update it on there once it's delivered, but I'll private message them like, "Hey, here's your new tracking. Like, keep it, and if you want to send it back, cool. And if you do, like I'll refund you for the shipping." But those little things teach you, a long way.
Yeah.
Sunny Two Chin's very smart reseller, also motivated speaker and true friend if you need him. Respect, cause I tried, man. Like I feel like growing up, I was quiet, and the stuff that I needed in my life wasn't there, and that's why I ended up joining the military. And then when I got in the military, I was like, "Whoa, this is even crazier than like the civilian life." But I learned from it, Like I really started watching, like in a way, when you go to jobs, it's kind of like the game. You like it at first, and then you start getting all these bad seeds in your head of like, I don't like to pick this type of t-shirt because they suck, and you're like, but I do pretty good on them, but you keep it to yourself. But they keep telling you they're not good, and you're like, damn, it's not good. You start questioning that, and I was like, I started to realize, like, yeah, who cares what they think? Like, do what works for you.
Yeah.
Don't let too much people talk too much about talk down on what's working for you, because everybody's different. Everybody flips things differently.
Yeah. Depends on where you live and financial situations, whatever. Yeah. Bills are different for everybody. Yep.
I know you answered this, but he might not have heard it. Air Edwards Vintage Flips asks, Ben, are you full-time or part-time?
I'm full time, but I need to, step it up. A little more effort.
Yeah. Yeah, we said that earlier. Could do more. I just sometimes I do. Sometimes like there'll be a whole day where I'm like, I'm on it, like the flow's there, and I'm listing stuff and I'm taking photos. Like I don't have anything on. I'm just like in my head, like in my zone. And then there's somebody's like, man, I know I need to do this, but I'm not gonna do it. I'll do it
Yeah.
later. No, I'll do
Yeah.
it now,
It'd be
you
some
know.
simple thing that if you just started, it's just starting it really.
Yeah. I was cracking up with Tracy here earlier. She was on a live. Thank you for coming over, Tracy. And she was saying something like Russia's not gonna help you with some eBay stuff and things. And I'm like, crap, I was hoping he would. And she was like, good luck with that. And then she was like, oh man, what was the second thing? What was the second thing she said? No, it was I don't think it was Tracy. Somebody had made a comment like, if you're not doing retail arbitrage, like you ain't doing nothing. So I commented back to them, like, I guess I'm not, if I'm not just doing retail arbitrage. I thought that was kind of rude, but it was just like, oh well. And that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like people say stuff, like if you're only doing retail arbitrage, like that's the way to go. Don't do nothing else. It's like because it works for you, so you say it. You don't hear people saying like too much people saying what not to do is like what you should do. Like you should tell the pros and cons of both sides so people kind of get the full story.
Definitely.
You got any hidden talents, any skills, music?
Like I said, I used to make beats and stuff, but I mean, I'm not
Oh,
like
that's
I
right.
didn't make it major or nothing like that. But
Uh, do you still have
it's
that
more
equipment to do
hobby.
that?
Yeah, that's why I have the mic and stuff like that, and I got the MIDI keyboard, and I got the programs for your computer or whatever, like Fruity Loops,
Mm.
all that type of stuff. Yeah, I just when I started doing this, I tried to like get right into it, but I don't know. I still should make time for something I like or enjoy more. And plus, it was a good outlet for me. I always like to make things and just listen to what you did. Something you created, basically. So you do all that art and stuff. So I know.
Yeah, I need to do more of it. Like just today, I was driving one of the back roads here to get to my house, and I could see like the desert. I'm like looking at the sky; it's really dusty or snowy. Like the weather here in Vegas is really is like a bowl. Like an actual valley. People forget about that, and they ask like, "Why is the weather like this?" Like, dude, we're in a bowl. We're in a valley, and this shit don't go nowhere. It just keeps staying in their faces. And I like seeing like the pollen float around. And I go on Instagram and say like, "Oh, look at all the allergies out here." People crack up on that, like some stupid stuff. But I was looking at like the scenery, and I'm like, man, I want to take a photo of this. I want to get back into photography. And I did really good at photography. I've done some photo shoots, and one of my instructors, my photography instructor, like busted my balls, like Krillin here would say, like hardcore, like where he just drilled me in front of everybody, all my classmates, and pretty much said I would never be a real photographer. And it's funny because at the same time, I ended up getting two messages on my phone, and one person was like, "Hey, I need your photos for like two photos for like $500 or $800, and your style." And then classmate next to me, like she was like looking at me because I'm like focused on my phone. This guy's talking shit about me, and I show her, and she's like, "Damn." And looks at him like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Then another text messages come in from somebody else, and they're like, "Hey, I just want one photo from you for like $200." And both of the classmates to the left and right of me are seeing my text messages, and I'm showing them. They're looking at the teacher again, like, "Dude, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, he's making money right here, while you're talking shit about him." And I ended up dropping the class. Before you knew it, the school reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, we want you to work with us and be a peer mentor and teach other students what you're doing, while you're in school and doing what you're doing, learning and applying it right there and then." And I think that's the difference with people is, for me, I ended up diving into art more when I was a student because I didn't have an option to wait for a paycheck or the monthly school, VA paycheck for school. That I was like, I need money. How do I make money? And I was in school and had the programs, and I was running with it. I was telling people like, yeah, I could make your shirts, but I would upprice them compared to what the person was charging me, and charging like $45 a graphic design. So it ended up being like people were offering me like, hey, I'll give you 200. Hey, I'll give you 500. Oh, I need a logo. I know they cost more. They're bargaining for me. I'm out in Florida. I did a bakery shop out in Florida. That was probably one of my biggest ones. I think that was like $7,000. And that took like 2 weeks. And that was a headache though. That was like when you do graphic designs, like anything custom you do for somebody, there's some people that are just, oh, can you change this? You're like, I already threw down this paint. Like I can't take it off and put it back on, like there's a process to it. And some people don't get that. They just think because they see it, it's easy because it's been done before. It's like, no, there's a process for everything.
But what made you like not keep up with the photography thing? If that sounds like pretty good money for just like a picture.
Yeah, yeah. But see, like the way you just said it, like I'm not saying you meant it that way, but some people just think it's just a picture,
No,
you know?
I mean, yeah, I don't
But that,
understand.
yeah. And
Probably how like NFTs are probably the same way. Then I would think
yeah,
something like that.
that's a good point. Yeah. I, and like NFTs, you just have to like actually either talk to somebody that knows that's going to tell you just straightforward step by step, that's not like, well, I have an NFT, I'll sell you and I'll teach you, like, no, just teach me. There's people out there, you're just finding the right person for you to understand. But what I do as a graphic designer, I tell people, I try to get them on the phone and talk to them like, this is what you could do with this design. Like this design that I made it to a certain size to fit on a shirt. I can't just make a huge design and say, hey, it's gonna fit on merch by Amazon because I made the design. It doesn't work that way. You have to have certain dimensions, and certain, I guess, quality of it for them to even accept it. And then even after that, Merch by Amazon looks at it. Whoever looks at it, it's like gives you the thumbs up, like, okay, it's not um copyright written or something like that, or too similar to like something else, like, and that's just opinionated on whoever sees it, what they base it off their experiences. Because later on they could be like, nope, sorry, we didn't catch this at first, we're kicking it off. So there's a lot of things that play into it. But I try to tell people, if you can make a graphic design, it's super easy to change the sizes of it down to 2 inches up to, like a huge banner to put on the wall or something. And this is what it's going to cost. But some people will come around, graphic artists, and say, the design I have right here, oh, you want it on a banner like 6x4 or something? Well, I gotta change it around, and I'm gonna charge you $50 because I gotta do some work. It's as easy as just clicking on the whole image, stretching it out, you know. But that's a different thing on my end, to where if I'm doing something like this, I make it bigger than what it is than you see. So that way it's easier to downsize an image than it is to expand it too much, because then it starts getting pixelated.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I tell people. Like I try to break it down what they can and can't do, and pick their brain on like what are they really trying to do with it. Like if they say just a t-shirt, I'm like, well, what about stickers or a banner, a hat, like how would they do it, or I tell them how recommendations, and they're like, oh crap, I wasn't even thinking about that. But now that you bring it up, like I would like to do that. And I'm like, it's just a few clicks for me. I'm not charging you extra. I'm going to send you separate files of this thing, your image, unless you have like Adobe Illustrator, which what I use the platform, you could open it up and tweak it. But if you don't, you always have that file. So if later on you're like, I'm like, yo, what's up, Ben? And you're like, hey, remember that image? And I'm like, yeah, I still got it. Or I happen to like it happened to me when I moved here to Vegas. My computer got stolen. Now I no longer have it. But you have it because I sent you the original file and I have the program, to where I could
Mm.
change it up. So I send the people the AI file, Adobe Illustrator file, and like PNG, PDF, and different sizes. And I don't charge them for resizing something because it's just a few clicks. Super easy. Gary Westside just got a sub. That's what I'm talking about. Linking people together. It's my go-to. That's all I want to do. I want people just to enjoy the people I enjoy, enjoying each other. Sub to Thrift and Flips. That's what I'm talking about. Mahalo, Tracy.
Thank you. Appreciate
You the best.
it.
Tommy, see, that last part so hard is where I'm like, eh. And smart, I guess I got one of the three.
What's up, Tommy?
Mm,
Yeah, he's like a lot of the advice that he gives. I listen to that. Like, yeah, yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
yeah. Yeah, here he calls them Tommy Numbers for a reason. And I like that name too. That's another mafia name. Tommy Numbers and
Never
Sonny
heard
Two
that.
Chins, I like that. I need to put out some content. Too many lives. I enjoy the lives, Gary. I don't know if you're in earlier, but I started out with the lives and I enjoy them. I know I can and I will put out, pre-recorded ones, but they won't be too far after, like, say I just recorded something yesterday. I could do it like tomorrow in a day. But my next video is gonna end up being of Kristen the Rural Squirrel, her and Mikey Moneybags when we went out to the bins. That's definitely gonna be my first one. But before that will be my live with one of my close friends, guy I got to work with, got to know really, really well, and he's going to be on Monday here, Mike Up Monday. And I hope some of y'all, if y'all are interested, hit me up on Instagram if you want to jump on. I'll share your content, have you on here, pick your brain, just talking that Buddha chatter like I do. Just speaking our minds, could learn a thing or two, whether it's about reselling or not. Like I'm invested in people more than anything. Like I'm a people person. My wife hates that I'm a social butterfly. Yeah, photography is a grind.
You do
What's up, Danny?
like freehand stuff too, not just with a camera or.
I used to do a lot of freehand, and I think because I drew so much as a teenager, up until like probably my mid 20s, like my hands would hurt really bad. Like they hurt if I hold a pen too long or a piece of paper. Like it's bad. For a few years ago, I went to go get checked because I was losing like feeling, and these two fingers all the way down to my forearm. That the doctor was like, "Hey, you need to stop doing so much." And it wasn't what you are thinking, people. It was really just drawing all the time, and especially here on the tablet, like the angle and stuff. It really affects your hand if you're on a computer too long. Like you start, it was like pretty much borderline carpal tunnel. And he was just like, "Hey, you need to take it easier. You actually need to do some more stretches and working out. That'll help it." And it went away after a while, but I had it for like months. I was really scared. Jeremy, I want to soon with whoever that I can. Like I like Danny's channel. I've been telling her like gotta meet up, and even we're just talking a couple of lives ago on Mikey Moneybags, his channel. It might have been a live. It was like we're talking about like meeting up to eat as well. Like it doesn't have to be reselling. I don't like people. Like I don't care if we're just watching a movie or something. It's just the presence of being with people. Just I real I guess because I don't have my family here, I'm not in Texas, to where it's like this is my new family, like that I'm growing into or they're growing with me. Like it's just nice, to have people physically like just to talk, hang out, talk stories. Nothing big. Oh, got James and Danny in here. These two are a tang right here. So James is one a while back when I got into MTG cards, right? Like he's the one that started telling me about it, and he actually like threw thousands of cards. Him and Danny sat with me in a garage in our apartment, and they were going through cards, and we didn't find one that I thought I had. Like I swear that I have it, but I might have lost it because I've done that many times. And they ended up buying several cards for like $250. They're like, hey, we want these cards. And when I found the new MTG cards a couple of months ago, or probably in the summer, the two boxes for $5. One of them was like, I think a little over 500. And James was the first person I reached out to because I was afraid of being scammed online. And he was like, I'll buy it. So I ended up selling it to him like for 400 and something. And it was just like a relief because it was like not somebody to get scammed on.
Yeah,
But
that's
they
nice.
they play both of them, Danny and James.
Yeah, I got cards I still need to go through. I mean, those some of
MTG
those are
cards?
$1 too. I got some of those and some Pokemon, and I had a bunch of basketball ones because when they were starting to get big again or whatever. But I don't know how to look up the stuff. I guess just scan it with the app or whatever. But it's just
Have you used
taking
the app?
taking
You've
the
tried
time
it
to
already?
do it on eBay or the whatever the
Hmm.
other one they talk about TCG
The
or something like
TCG
that.
player app.
I downloaded it once, but I don't know. I I still like double check everything because I don't trust just even
Well,
one app.
so on the TCG player, like the good thing about it is that it actually brings up like what kind of card it is, blue card, green card, the numbered one, and you just got to see if the you actually have the right version. But if anything, you could still go on eBay with that information and compare it to other ones. Like it narrows it down rather than like the name that's on the top left corner of the MTG card. And you're like, okay, and then you're squinting your eyes because at the very very bottom left you see like the year, the illustrator name. Sometimes that doesn't help either. You know but it does help. And I have like a tripod that I use to also have as a connection to hold my phone, so it'll just be like pointing down, and I just have both hands free and I'm just scanning it. Just make sure you have like a solid color base, like either gray or white, to where it just picks up just the card, because if you have black, you may have some cards with that black border and it's not going to pick it up.
I have to do
But
it.
it helps. You can go through hundreds of cards like pretty fast that way.
Is there any like ones for the basketball cards or anything, or is it the
No,
same?
I don't think so. But
Oh,
you would wonder like why don't they have that? You know
I want to say
that
they
that I
usually has something like that now, but I don't know. I don't always, like I said, I don't just trust it. I guess you gotta take a picture of it anyways, and then you gotta upload it. But I don't know. I like you said, the trends and stuff. Like I'm gonna get on the end of it when it's all dying down, then I'll list it.
I, I think well, I think when it comes to cards, you really have to be invested in the time to like, okay, I got to go through these. Like, are they going to sit here
Yeah.
and just sit here until you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell it to somebody for a price that you could probably bank on, that you're going to end up cutting yourself way short. Just Photoshop all my cells together. I wouldn't care if Tommy photoshopped all his cells, because if you looked at his Instagram photos, like, and you see the shoes and the quality that they're in, even though they're thrown in a pile, some people might be like, "Oh, you're gonna get one dirty." Like they all look brand new. How is brand new clean stuff gonna get something dirty? Like. And then he said the other day too that he was making like 40,000 a month. I'm gonna say that's minimum, so he could make more than that, and that's freaking awesome. I was telling my wife about that, and she was like, "Well, how much are you making?" I was like 4,500 a month. She was like, "You need to do more." And now she's talking like, if you do more, like if I could double that, and my average be like $8,000 minimum, right? In sales, that will tell me I have enough in profit to where she could be full time, like go back to school and get to her business. She wants to do Botox and stuff, but it's really hard to do that actually here in Vegas. I think we would have to move.
It's not big in Vegas or what? I would think it's a lot of
It
that.
is, it is, but the people that are hiring here are more like they want people with experience. So how
Mm,
are you going to get experience if the people here aren't hiring people who are inexperienced and won't train you? You know,
right.
like I would feel like from what I've seen working, in the strip, I wouldn't want to hire somebody like that. If you need an assistant, I would rather see if they're the person you could actually train, keep them, and know that they're going to be with you for a long time, rather than somebody who is experienced and they're like, I'm just going to be here for like a year to get this like residency or something to put on my resume, and like I'm throwing up the deuces and starting my own job. Like that's how I see it. But who knows how that works? I don't know how that is. Marinating at 85s. I'm chilling, man. Yeah. Kristen had her first 805, and I was kind of shocked because I think Kristen said to Mikey that she hasn't had a drink like I want to say 20 years, and I'm like, should she be drinking? Like, I wanted to ask questions, and I was like, no, I'm not. Like, hey, she's having one, she's chill, she's with family, and then she said, her pretty much Chris, her son, I'm gonna say, yeah, really cool guy. He was like, they're gonna be having drinks all night, and I was like, he did get married, and they're gonna have that, so. What kind of dank you having, guys? Drink? I got 805. I don't know if Ben drinks.
Nah, I
Probably drink
really
like
don't
a fish.
drink a lot.
No? When you do
Nah,
drink, what do you drink? Is it liquor,
it's
beer?
probably something hard. Just because what's the point otherwise?
Oh, damn, it's like that.
Well, I
You
mean, it
drink
wouldn't
ice
take
water?
much anyways because I don't drink like that. So it would
Mm.
be like a little bit, and I'd be. I don't know. I just don't like the taste of alcohol. I don't know. I'm a taste person, I guess. Just nasty to me, honestly. Like I don't know. Anytime I got that messed up, it just didn't. I don't know.
Got any trees? Do you smoke, Ben?
Oh yeah,
Dimples came out before he answered. He was like, yeah.
I prefer dispensaries over alcohol stores. Probably. Yeah.
How are the prices from dispensaries compared to, say, you probably know somebody that sells it, you know, under the table?
I mean, they obviously charge more at dispensaries, but
You still prefer them?
I mean it don't really matter to me, honestly.
As long as it's good
It's
and worth
it's
it.
not like anything big like they acted like. You know what I'm saying? I know they got a lot of them down in Vegas, right?
Yeah, there's a lot, man. Those people are making money, especially those that went by the strip. So when the resort started, this is such an annoying thing at the Win. And I'm sure other casinos too, but they're not as strict. And the reason why is because the Win is a 5-star resort, right? Like you're catering to the so-called one percenters more than anything. But there's people there who aren't one percenters and they just have a shitload of money. And it's like they're like, hey, you can't have people come in with weed. And they advertise it. They buy the bags. I'm not sure how it is where you're at, but here it's like the bags have the dispensary name, and you're like, I know that's a dispensary, and you're like, hey, you can't have that here. So you learn from other people when you start getting like attitudes, like how do you know it's weed? So the next person I hear it from a friend, coworker that's telling somebody, I'm like, haha. Next person I see, like, hey, excuse me, sir, Ben, I know you've been here a few days. Um, and you mentioned that you're about to go to dispensary, and the reason why I'm telling you is because that's actually not allowed here. If we see it, we're gonna stop you and ask you to leave the premises until you're done doing your business. And some people would catch on, some people wouldn't. They'll be like, wait, I can't bring this here. And they start getting attitude. And the wife or the friends, like, hey, you didn't hear what he said. We're good. Hey, man. Hey, sir, security guard. Hey, we're good. And he's like, "Whoa, no, he can't tell us what to do." He's like, he was telling us what to do. Don't show me, like don't advertise it out there. And it's also another thing, like you don't want to advertise things that cost money out there because there's some people out there that are like, why do I got to pay for it? I'm just gonna go jack Ben over here. He just talked about it. We'll just wait for him, and people do that. People people loot other people. Like it's crazy. So much
Yeah.
crazy people. Like, just
Not
because
enough
security is there
competition.
doesn't mean security is going to get involved. Different types of security. Can go to abandoned tunnel and get Botox for 25 in Vegas. Yeah, you be looking like you have like a bumper lip. I would definitely not go to the mole people here in Vegas. That's what they call the people that live in the tunnels, which is crazy. Yeah, Danny, he got me hooked. I tried it there at the bins and I was just like, whoa, I should have had this before. Yeah, 20 years. Haven't had plenty of drinks since then. Oh, beer. That was a keyword, beer. But other beverage like stuff. James is one I would like to have him on, like just to vent and talk shit about security. Not so much like people, but like say their names, but like just talk about the security life because it is crazy. It's a different world, and I believe he's still there. So when that day comes, James, I'm ready to share stories like that. It's one thing you can do is complain about stuff when you work there because people do follow you and report you. Some people are shady and they get jealous and they want you fired.
I heard you talk about a few stories that you had with people, how they act when you was security or whatever, acting crazy.
Yeah, I've been threatened by like so-called Suge Knight's son. He was planning on shooting me, and then a crip that was saying he was gonna pop cap in my ass, and then another one was like a guy. I was asking him to put on the mask, and he was like, "How about I go to my car and put a gun in your mouth?" And I'm just like, "What the fuck, man? Like, who says shit like that?" And then one guy, I was a bike security officer this time, and I'm outside along the strip, and me and another bike officer, who was we're just talking on the corner, looking at pedestrians walk by. Everything's good, and this guy just walks by me, him and his wife, and he goes like this, and I'm just looking at him like, who the fuck does that? Like who points at somebody to shoot? Like I called it in on the radio, and they're like, "Oh, you need to stop him," and I'm like, "Well, if he's saying like has a finger like that, like, oh, this was actually a little after the Mandalay Bay, and it was just like, man, like this is y'all need to get somebody with a gun to check this dude. They didn't. It
Like
was too late.
he came in with you, or came in where you was working,
What was
or
that?
just driving? He came in where you were working, or just drove
He,
by.
he was just walking by me, and he just started pointing like, and I'm like, who does that, man? His wife looked at him like this was an older gentleman, but maybe like people look at security like, oh, you're running cops, and they say shit. And it's just like, no, I'm a human being that needs a job and I have bills. That's what I am. But the wife looked at him like, you don't do that. And I'm like, you don't do that. Hey, control, this is bike three. Be advised. Caucasian male, 5'6", tan shirt, Tommy Bahamas embroidered on the back. Looked like it goes on eBay for about $45. Slightly used. Peter Millar pants, a little too tight for him. Might be a size 34. Needs a 38. He started saying stuff like that. A dude who claimed he was with the cartel. That was so with that. So there was a guy who was claiming. I don't know if James was there, if he was a report writer at that time, but there was a guy claiming that he was part of the SEAL Team 6, right? And there was actually one of our security officers. I don't think I was a special operations guard yet. I don't think I was carrying, but there was people who were coming that were carrying, other security teams. And one of the main guys was SEAL Team 6. So he asked him like, what he started drilling him questions. He was just like, oh no, I'm not. And he was like, you don't play like that, man. Like people pretend to be something that they're not. But it was funny to him to get put in this place and have a real SEAL Team 6. And that says a lot. If you don't know about SEAL Team 6, like, Man, I don't know what to tell you, but it's pretty intriguing. I could definitely not do that. Maybe when I was a teenager and didn't know better and wasn't really afraid of stuff. I was more of like showing off. I want to do things, you know. I'll go run 8 miles. I could beat you, you know. Now that I'm older, I'm like, hell no, I don't want to even run a mile.
Yeah, it changes from when you're that young. All the things you think of that you did or didn't think about what you were doing, and you look at it now like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. But at the same time, you wouldn't be basing a lot of the things that you're doing now if it wasn't for those experiences, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
Most people that claim there's something, most likely they're not. And not, I'm not. I'm definitely I ain't worth shit. No, I'm just joking. According to my life insurance, I'm like worth a cool, close to a cool mil. So I laugh. My wife's always like, "What if you get hurt? What if somebody does something to you?" Because I get road rage every now and then, and I'm like, "You're covered, you know. Like, just don't fall in love with anybody. Like, I'm it. You know, you need to be with another woman, or you just can't be with another guy." And she's like, "You're crazy." So I be telling her too. No, they don't, Danny. And this guy, like anybody else, like when you pretend to be something you're not, you know, and there's somebody actually doing it, like you get checked quick. And this guy was checked. Like he went from having his chest out to like being loud to and he was like, I'm still team six. And there was just something about the way he said it wasn't loud or anything, but it was just like, oh shit. You know, and if he was, he would have stood his ground, but he did not. He put his toe in between his legs, sat down on the bed, started helping us with his I think his wife or whoever she was with, like shut her up, like, hey, we gotta go. Like he started realizing we're more than just security. Plus the numbers don't lie. It's always good to have numbers in security. Might have a cell right here, Ben. Love me that Sublime shirt in the back for my boy James Akfale.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a size small. I mean, it's hard to get a sale, but I do have a watcher on it actually. I got that on from Whatnot. It's actually worth some money.
How much you buy it for?
I honestly don't remember offhand. It was not that much though, because I honestly didn't really want it. But then I looked it up, and there's one listed for like 180, but it's in a like a size large or extra large, but like same tag and everything.
I found a Sublime shirt the other day, but it was a newer one. I got excited too because it looked vintage, like it felt vintage. And then I looked in the inside tag and I was like, oh man, this it's a modern one. Made it look vintage.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going off of the other picture. I don't honestly know how they they got like I want to say like 15 watchers on the one they had. So
Yeah. He said, oh damn, I'm like a 2XL now. I'm sure there's a video for that, how to stretch out shirt.
too. I don't know about a small 90s or 2000 small. I don't know. Early 2000s. I don't know. I seen a video the other day when they show how to shrink a neck of a shirt, but I know there's a
What
few
was
other.
it the one where you soak it in water, just that the neck portion, and you throw it in the dryer?
Yeah,
I
you seen
tried
that
that. It
too?
don't work. It didn't work for me.
For real?
No. Did it work for you? You tried it?
I didn't try it. I just seen it. I mean, I ain't had no stretched out shirts like that. So, but I mean, they showed it work, but I guess that's what they're supposed to do. So.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say,
James
oh, this
said,
really.
yeah. James said, yeah, if I put it on, laughing out loud, you're gonna be looking like what was it, Dallas Cowboy Ezekiel? Would be like a crop top. Crop
Very
top,
true.
not looking right shirt. that, that man, I was like, I was a Cowboys fan, and then when he was doing that, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. Just doesn't come off right to me. Maybe because I can't play it off. I don't have that flat tummy anymore. What's up, Shay? Welcome back, Doc. Fat guy in a little shirt. Tommy, poor dude. Yeah, James here does some streaming on Twitch. See him every now and again. He has this there's this caption or message that comes on that it says leave a message after the beep, and then it has like dot 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 beep. And I'm not sure if he got that for me, but I remember doing that to people when I was working at the Win. People would call and I'd be like, leave a message after the beep, beep. And they'd be like, oh shit. Oh, hey Matt. And it catches them off guard. So they start talking and then I'll do beep 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 beep. They start like, what the hell is wrong with this phone? And then they realize like, oh, it's actually him. So then I ended up leaving that recording that same way too. Just cracks me up. But I've been seeing it on James's thing, and I'm like, I wonder if he got that for me. Just some gaming. I've been wanting to do some gaming, but it's one of those things like I can't jump into something else because I really need to focus on what's working. And I think my wife would be pissed too. Like, hey, thought you're supposed to be working over here. I was like, I am. I'm building like my platform, trying to make things work. She won't understand. I don't know how we've been married this long, to tell you the truth. I don't want to hold you up, Ben. You got
What's
anything
up?
going on? Said I don't want to hold you up. If you got anything you got to knock out or anything.
Oh, I'm just listening right now, but I mean, I probably will get going sometime soon. It's like 10 here, so
Yeah.
not like that's late or anything. Like, 10 o'clock, but yeah, kind of tired today.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like, I'm taking naps lately, like all the time. Or try to at least, but then I'll get woke up and then be right back up. Do you take naps at all? I mean, I get
Um.
tired.
Now
I
that
get
I've been a full time reseller, yeah, I never believed in naps before. Like I was against it. But then one
uh,
day I was just sitting down, and I think this was like probably like around 3 months ago, where my body was like, okay, you're relaxing, you're not on your feet no more. Like I was getting like these phantom pains, like these ghost pains, because when I was standing like for 7 hours at work, like a lot of our job was on our feet with in security, right? Especially when you're good, you end up being a go-to guy, and they don't give you sitting positions. They're like, nah, we need you to be doing this. You're a go-to. To where 4 years of this like was really taking a toll on my back and my legs. So when I wasn't working at the job anymore, being at home, like I started realizing like, man, there's a lot of pain in my legs. So I'll just relax, sit down. Then after 3 months, like I was saying, like all of a sudden I just crashed out on the couch, and I'm like, whoa, like that felt good. And I was like, wait, these naps aren't bad at all. They're good.
all right, all right.
But my naps could end up being like 30 minutes or 3 hours. Like they're good.
Yeah, my sleep's all messed up. So
Hey, mahalo, James. I'll have you on
seems,
sometime.
seems like I get my like one to list at night too when I need to go to bed. It's weird how it is. Like I can't get myself to list during the days, and there's nobody here to bother me or nothing. It's weird. But I don't know. At night it seems like when I feel like listing.
Yeah, getting a carpool, Kristen and Shay. I appreciate you all for joining us. I really do. I do need to get my okole, it means ass, Hawaiian, on check because I got content I do need to share. And I have some other things that I'm working on. Like everybody's kind of like not so much changing who they are, but they're like implementing more of like what they're trying to do and are doing. Like for example, Shay's one, like she's sharing like Mercari and eBay. Her recent video, I was watching it, and I left a comment on there saying like the ending, the beep, right? And I did that purposely because I do watch to the end of videos, like maybe not in one sitting, but I'll come back. Like I said earlier, I'll watch a video and then I got to do something. Then I'll go back and look at my history, like, hey, Shay's video. I need to catch up on that, or anybody's. And then it makes people like I'm sure people look at the comments sometimes and are like, what does he mean by the beep at the end? And if you see it, it's just a retake of like where we have little bloopers and stuff like that. And I just thought it was cool though, the whole video of like how she sees Mercari and eBay, her pros and cons. And then I was also curious, like I want to come back to this later on to see what people are saying, what pops off on their head about the difference or something like that. But really nice, Shay. Really cool that you're open about what you do, your lives. If it's not on your channel, Paul's or Jake's. That was one thing too about Jake Jackoff was like, oh man, is this the same time he does his lives? Because I like the guy, so I don't want to step on his channel. But I remember them saying like he might be busy for a few weeks. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not stepping over his channel. He's a cool dude. I like him.
Yeah, I watch. He's funny. I'm in there. I'm in a lot of the chats. I just be in the background.
Yeah. I see you in there. I've been seeing you for a while now. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Sometimes
And then
you just come in and just watch or whatever.
Kristen said, I'm listening, shipping, watching videos all day long, trying to keep up with all my favorite channels. Yeah, it's a hard thing to do though, keeping up with people. Like I when I follow people, like I follow them hard. And then it's like, oh, the people that leave comments or I see them on Instagram, I was like, wait, I haven't seen their video. Do they have videos? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Because not every reseller, like I've noticed, say on Instagram, I see them and they have Instagram content, but they don't have a YouTube channel. Not even
Yeah.
an account that I could find. And there's some channels. I would say everybody that's in here, if you haven't done this already, if you have a YouTube channel, make sure that you have already set your URL to your actual channel name, because you see your name, your username, and you may go to like your home screen or your videos, and you're only seeing your name on the screen like that you see. But if you look up in a URL, sometimes it's just like a number, letters, and you could change that up to customize it. So I would recommend to see if you have that option already, if you have enough, I think, subscribers or whatever the requirements are. So that way it just makes it easier when somebody like myself, like I just said, I try to see if somebody has, a channel and I'm not able to find it, that I could find it easier, and other people, because if I hear somebody say, hey, thrift and flip, thrift and flip, thrift and flip, eventually, either not the first time, but later on, it's like, man, I keep hearing this name. Let me check them out. And you can't find them, is probably because the name isn't coming up that way, you know, like unless
Yeah.
they leave a comment.
I actually searched my name and all that comes up is like it's a subject more than a YouTube channel, like it, because people are out there thrifting and flipping.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought about changing that, but I don't know. Maybe
I
it'll
would,
catch on eventually. But
yeah, just check if on Google's and are not Google's and on YouTube, and I think into Google, you do have to. No, I think it's YouTube. I forget. But there is a way to customize your URL,
yeah,
and
I
that
did that.
you know
Yeah.
that's good. So hard to find spots where you aren't on as well at the same time as someone else's. Yeah, like I feel like I follow a lot of people, but I don't feel like I follow enough people, because I may see them in a live chat in somebody else's, and I feel like I'm watching theirs because of the way they talk. You feel like you know them already, to where you're not really watching their content if they have any. So I've been finding people here every now and again. I've been trickling in, like, oh man, let me go into like AR stuff, which I do follow. I've been following AR for a while now. Um, I do look forward to more of his people that he brings on to his guests, because he's really finding some. Not to say anybody finds like crappy people, but it's just like it's cool that everybody has these different point of views of like what they like and what they share. You know, like it's just
Yeah.
different, and it makes it more entertaining because it teaches us like, are we interested in that? Should we look into that? I'm not interested, but I like the dude or the woman. You know, it's just cool. Everybody has different likes and interests. Some of us are mutual.
Yeah, there's so much out there, whole variety. um,
What kind of content do you look for when it comes to reselling?
I'm I don't know. I just watch really. I mean, before I was trying to learn what sells, the what sold videos, because that's what you really look at when you first are starting. I don't know, but I'm trying to get into more like the business side of something, like something that's more about a business. Like they talk about the business side more, but I can't find a channel like that really. Like I don't know,
What kind of business?
just anything that has to do with just to give you ideas and like make you look at it differently. Type, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, explain it. It's just different content, but it kind of correlates all in together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you really are, like a business. So
Yeah.
just I don't know, like look up successful people, but they could be full of crap anyways. But
Do you want to do like a storefront business, something more physical people to visit, or like a reselling business?
I don't know, probably just what I'm doing now for now. But I mean, maybe if, I don't really have the foot traffic where I'm at, so a small town, but I don't know. There's not a good lot of good locations around where I'm at to if I would try to ever do some type of storefront.
There's something that always interests me, and this was out in Oahu when I started our clothing business. They have this. It's called the Art and Flea, and the person that runs it is really good. She's a people person, but she's also business. Like she doesn't bullshit, but she gets along with everybody. Like really cool person. Her name's Allie. So Allie started this thing, Art and Flea, and they would have these entrepreneurs like who would do like say their clothing brand, or if they made like the henty tattoos, or if food trucks, like just these entrepreneurs would come in and sell their goods, right? And when she started doing it, it grew to where like when we first started, it was like 35 bucks for a table. And it was like probably a 6x4 or something, right? Like a decent amount, just put a table out there, fold out table, put your banner, and it was like, hey, there's only so much space you could go to where they're going to come across you. Eventually, they'll be like, all right, I'm going to look at this new guy Benz's stuff. So you could lay out however you want, be as creative as you want, to where it started growing to where she ended up buying her own storefront after probably about a year or two from when I was doing this in her events, to where it ended up going to like $65 per month. But at that time, it was like probably it went from like 30 vendors up to like probably 100, I would say. And it was just like, man, that's pretty interesting. And where I come from back in Texas, small town, there's nobody doing that. Like you have flea markets and stuff, but you're not having events where it's music. Oh, music artists too was another one. People would get on the mic, they would sing or do something. Food, like not so much taco truck, but they would have their setup. And I'm like, man, if I was back home, I would do that. And it's always opened my eyes. It was like, what are some places, what don't they have? What do they have, but what don't they have? What can you provide to your area that other people don't? And unfortunately, Vegas has a lot of stuff going on. But out in Twin Falls, Idaho, I was telling my brother-in-law when I went there probably like 4 or 5 times already, and every time I go, I was like, my eyes are just open to like, oh, where's your digital media people? Where's your photography people? You see all these food places, these coffee places. And I was saying, I'm like, man, if we moved here, I would like to do like a media place, help people make websites, not so much websites, but like design them and have somebody else like work as a team. And he was just like, yeah, we don't have that. And then like a year later, he was like, yo, guess what? And I'm like, what? And he was like, there's one guy who's starting a website business, and he pulled different people to help build the website. So now they have their own business, and they are running that town because they're the only ones there. Like that's awesome, and they're opening up to like graphic designs and photography too. But it's just like, man, it would have been awesome if we were able to easily move over there and do all this stuff. And he just says every time, like every time I see this guy, because he goes there too. He works at companies, helps them with like linen, carpets, uniforms, things like that. He was like, I see these people, and he just keeps remembering, like, man, my brother-in-law would have did this if he had the chance. But I think about that back home, like I could do this. I could have an event once a month, and if it's good, I could make it twice a month, to where like that could help me fund my own storefront of like reselling clothes and things like that, because they don't have that there either, and there's no street brands. There's no subculture type stuff back home where I'm from. So like high school football teams, college teams type apparel, but it's all like Walmart or like Like not so much like street stuff.
You never try to in Vegas? No type
For
of store or
apparel.
nothing? Yeah, for like, what do you sell a lot of? Just everything, or
So I so when we moved to Vegas, and by that time it was a while. Like we had our clothing brand 2000, end of 2011, and then when 10 years passed up being here, that's when I was dealing with our place being broken into and all the equipment stolen. My photography stuff, all of it was stolen, so I couldn't find or do anything because I didn't have nothing, my tools. So that's why I ended up starting also using eBay to use the buy back the equipment that was stolen or pay bills because I was in between jobs, kickboxing, post office, and I'm just like I'm gonna resell, and it worked pretty good. But the clothing brand, what's up, Hustle Man? The clothing brand, like it was good in Hawaii, but then here in Vegas, you can't just get a brand and run it somewhere else. Like you do got to build a fan base, and my type of characters, like this. Some people are like that's too childish. It's like, cool, you're not the person I'm going for then. And if anybody was to check out like my own Instagram, the personal one, and I always forget it because I rarely go on there now. But if you go through it, Sunny in Las Vegas, I'm very original. But it's like if you were to go through my things, you see like it's really clean characters. They're chubby because I've gained some weight, and I felt like it was a niche that people weren't jumping into. It's more like the niche and the size of like the character more falls into like Torrid or these plus size brands, to where mine was like visual. And if you come across characters more than anything, a lot of people don't judge characters like hard like you would as seeing a person. Like, oh, look at Sonny, he has two chins. This dude needs to work out. When you see a character, you're just like, oh, that's cool. Or you're just passive towards it to where you don't even look at it. But you don't judge it hard. And that's how I pictured my illustrations, because people judge you hard. Jugstock Omaha, it's a fabulous festival. You could model something like that there. I'll get back into it, but I have some copyrights on characters, and for me to get back into clothing, I think I would have to tweak my my business info so that way it's all covered. Because right now it's just like resale, online resale. Like here in Vegas, the prices jumped up too. It used to be like if you're gonna make like up to $200 a month, which isn't much, but a little goes a long way, to where they wouldn't charge you, right? Because you're spending costs well and fees and everything after that. So it'd be like zero that you'd have to pay in fees. But now it's like to get a seller's permit and other things to go with it, it's like $700. And I try to look at the difference with Legal Zoom to adjust add the additional things that I would need for a clothing brand. It's like $1,300 now. And I'm like, there has to be a lesser way, but I could afford it. I'm just looking, if there's other options that could be less.
right, save used to saving money all the time, but sometimes you just gotta go in and spend the money, I guess. But
I'm
yeah,
vibing hard with Ben. I'm over here on the struggle bus trying to keep my eyes open. The struggle bus. You know, I want to do some more stuff with my art, and one of them is with Krillin. He already had an idea. He shut this one down actually. Like he didn't like it. The next one, it would be like when it warms up. It'll be one with like an ice cream. So it'll be a different type of thing, but it would be like his still style. Do you ever find vintage blanks at thrift stores to put designs on? I could answer this. Ben, how about you? You think about stuff like that, like blank apparel, and you're like, yeah, I could put something on.
no, but I see it's like really what a lot of people are doing right now with the blanks, the vintage blanks. Yeah, but I never thought about doing that.
So with this question from Red, which is also another good channel, like Red Brand, and I actually have like a bag of like I wouldn't say it's vintage. Maybe some of them are, but they're blank T-shirts or may have stripes on it or a pattern, but there's not a brand like logo or anything on there. To where I've been buying it probably for like 2 years for this bag. and majority of them are like the long cut tees, which people are like the cool kids are wearing them. So I'd find them for like $2 maybe, and I'm like, man, I could repurpose these, like I could throw on my own logo and maybe sell them and build a website on. And Dom was talking to somebody earlier about like eBay and Jeremy too. Jeremy was in there, who's in here now, who's been in here, about like when are fees too much on eBay to say, hey, like I need to stop and figure something else out because the fees are just ridiculous. And for me, when I was seeing this and Dom's live earlier with the professor, I believe, I forget the actual name, but to me, it was like when I'm no longer profiting is when I'm gonna turn my cheek and figure something else out. But this is also another reason why you want to use social media, like say YouTube, to if you're trying to build a brand, share what you're sharing right now, and then also say, hey, I'm building a website and this is what my goals are. And as long as you're showing it is good, but it's hard to keep up with your dreams at the same time because everything's a process and things are going up in fees and fines for seller's permits, for business license, IEN numbers, like it all adds up. But you could also put it towards taxes, but a little goes a long way, especially for each flip. $10 turn, sell something for buy something for $2, sell it for 15. Turn that $15, divided by two, whatever else that comes on, and find out much amount of items that sell for $15 or more. Like, you just keep flipping it until it helps you out with what you really want to do. And when I started reselling to jump into this vent, like I was looking at it like, ha, I sold something. I found this. This is awesome. Like I was on a high. I wanted to show it off in a good way, and then later on I realized like I'm not really this type of person. I just fell into being like other people's channels and I want to share what it is that I'm finding and why, you know, and that's been the transition. Like I don't want to put something out there if I'm not teaching something and not entertaining. If I'm not liking it, then I'm not into it. Can we get Krillin aboard for Summerline? Krillin look good as fucking a singlet. I was just thinking of that yellow singlet too. I was like, oh, there's gonna be a bulge in there somehow. Got to work that out up to the belly button. Yeah, that's who it was. Thanks, Jeremy. Chubby's tacos. That doesn't sound right at all, and I don't think I would bite into that. Good night, Kristen. I meant to say that earlier. No. Well, ladies and gents, I think we're gonna wrap this up. If you haven't already, check out Ben. Great guy. You see him in the live chats, very supportive as well, like me and most of you that are in here and were in here, and those who come and visit afterwards. Um, I do have another live coming up on Monday, which is going to be with a good friend, music artist. Really good guy, and it's not just about music. Like this guy has more to bring to the table, like most people do, and I enjoy just having somebody to give um, an opportunity out there, whether it me giving it to them, but also back to me to say, hey, like here's Ben, like I just want to share what I like and who I like, and I hope y'all do too. Ben, you got any closing comments? You got any lives, channels coming up, videos?
Hopefully, I'll have some type of video coming soon. Since I'm trying to be consistent more. But yeah, just subscribe if you would like to, or follow me on Instagram, whatever. Message me, whatever. Leave a comment. I'm I'm cool, dude. Just yeah, you like me, follow me.
Well, I like you, and I've been subbed, and I hope y'all do too. It's not in the description, but I will be adding it here in a moment, right after we end this broadcast. Thank you all for coming in, and stay tuned for Monday and more videos, not just for me, but others out there that you enjoy watching as well. Thank you for the support. Appreciate you all.